Biden was sent to Afghanistan as that debacle was going on to really try to lead the evacuation in the middle of a disaster. He's now our Undersecretary for Man, the third highest ranking person in the department. This was a great day. You have to learn how to brief quickly, 2 or 3 talking points. President started off with, what book are we reading? We knew he would do that. He asked a sports question, asked how do we like the cheeseburgers, and they had been made, they were using President Clinton's recipe, believe it or not. And we started in another room. In the room that we started, there were 8 by 12 notes, yellow pad, handwritten, and it was Jimmy Carter notes from the meeting he had with Menachem Begin and Ann Worcester. And we could read those, and I thought it was a reminder why we have to be humble all the time. The President of the United States was willing to take notes, had to have a small meeting, and again, we're dealing with that crisis in the Middle East as President Carter and all subsequent presidents did, but our president was humble. He took the notes, and they got an agreement. And I hope that one day you all get to go to Camp David, get to brief a president, get to change policy. But it took some years for me to get up there, some years. So I want to talk about diplomacy, defense, and development, 3 pillars that we need to make sure that there is a peace for your generation, that we can avert World War III. We live in a time of extraordinary technology and innovation. Access to education, medical care, and the resources have reached an all-time high in many parts of the world, despite the challenges. Those improvements, however, remain fragile and have to be maintained and improved through the better usage of development, diplomacy, and defense. We have to be more nimble. We have to be agile, but we have to invest. These things cost money. We have to be willing to invest. Unfortunately, we see dangerous trends. Anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, racism, isolationism, fear of migrants and refugees are returning to our shores and will be hard to reverse unless the next generation of leaders acts in the best tradition of our nation: compassion, relationship building, investment in education, health and defense at home and abroad. My talk centers on these objectives necessary to prevent World War III. I'm going to start, though, by telling you about my wonderful childhood and why I'm optimistic that Florida State is one of our training grounds for the next greatest generation. I took the Foreign Service examination on the recommendation of my first boss, Edward J. Lowe. I had never traveled overseas, and I didn't speak a foreign language, but I went to outstanding public schools in New York City and did well on standardized exams. It turned out that the good Lord was looking out for me, and I loved representing our country overseas. Well, what did I think I was doing when I joined the Foreign Service? I knew nothing about the career I was about to enter. I had no personal role models. Family members served in World War I, World War II, Korea, and Vietnam, but the only diplomats we knew were the ones we saw on TV. We had no idea what they did. I grew up in the St. Albans area of New York City. Musicians, James Brown, Ella Fitzgerald, lived nearby. And we toured Count Basie's home. You know, guys may not know who Count Basie was, but he was something special. St. Albans remains a mecca of music with LL Cool J, Ludacris, and Run DMC calling it home. It was overwhelmingly black. Many headed north during the Great Migration. Most of the men were World War